Wow.
Wow, this is some really deep stuff.
I don't know what just happened, but something happened inside of me. Something snapped, something sick.
I wasn't expecting that
either. Sorry.
It's okay. It's all right. It's beautiful.
Monster is like really small, but it had to become that to stop me.
And then the hurt child became present when you mentioned it.
And I didn't realize this until now.
There were things that I didn't remember until now.
Funny, I haven't seen that before.
It feels like I'm the monster. I'm kind of seeing images of things. Of a world where they can exist. This clarity brings all kinds of answers.
It's clear. She hugged me and then went back to her place, I guess, in my heart. Oh, it wants to come out. It wants to bippity boppity boop Cinderella me. She's melted into my chest. It's ooey gooey.
All week been finishing things, cleaning up more, started eating vegetables again last week. And it kind of just started happening. It's almost like I just finished going through a meditation session.
I feel light. When you hit that first joint, in the morning, and
I actually feel a lot more awake.
All right.
Okay.
Got any parts you'd like to get to know better?
Yeah, it's interesting because I've been in holiday land for quite some time and with family nonstop and stuff, and I feel kind of disconnected from my system in a weird way. Not that I wasn't aware of my parts some of the time, but I generally spend more time focused on that than I have in the past few weeks. So it's I feel like I said, kind of distant in a way that I'm not liking. I had mentioned to you in Discord that we had a death in my family, and
right.
I was not really expecting to feel a personal loss around it as much as, I was just feeling compassion for those who, it was my aunt that died. And, I expected to feel empathy and compassion and such for those who are really close to her. But at some point, people were sharing photos and stuff. And I just realized that there's some emotion that I wasn't in touch with around kind of the loss of her and her family, meaning her husband and her boys, who were my cousins. When I was a kid, my mom and my aunt had some kind of little tiff. Before that, our two families came together quite often, and we felt very close to them. And I don't remember thinking of it much as a kid, but probably because that part that has feelings about it wasn't accessible to me. But I had some really strong emotions come up looking at a photo of myself as a little kid and her. So I remember reaching out to you and be like, oh, I want to work on this. And it happens a lot to me. I'll have something that arises that I'm like, I cannot wait, to get on this call so I can work on this. And then by the time it comes, it feels, I feel like it's hard to get back to it. But I would like to try. I would like to explore that general neighborhood of things, and see if we can kind of unearth those parts and feelings.
Okay.
And if not, we'll
Okay.
just go in a different direction like we sometimes do.
Okay.
Okay.
You could start with any feelings in the body, or you could start if you have protectors or parts that don't want to go there that you're already aware of.
Yeah. I feel like there's a minimizing protector. I got a lot of that going on with, in general, just like, this is not, this is fine now, or kind of like, you just had that moment of emotion and that's normal and there's nothing to see here, people kind of thing.
Okay.
There was, when I was growing up, and I'm trying not to do too much self-psychoanalysis of, oh, this happened and I was because of that. But I just remember thinking at some point, I just thought of my mom's family as my mom's family. I didn't, it sounds so weird to say I didn't consider them my family, but like we had our clear family and then everything else seemed, disconnected and unimportant.
Right.
But I think there are parts that really felt a loss around that. And I just wasn't aware of them, which, when I think of IFS from in a cognitive way, or when I'm working with other people and their parts, it all like makes sense to me. And I'm like, of course. But then when I experience the very same things, I'm like, so weird and confusing.
When you say you weren't aware of them, are you referring to current, or when are you referring to?
I was never aware that I felt any sadness over not having them in my life. If that makes, until, like I said, until I saw this photo of me and her. And then it was like, all of a sudden I was aware that there was sadness and that there was this feeling of loss around that change that happened when we no longer would go over there or do stuff with them anymore. And I never sat around and thought, oh, that's so sad, or dang, anything. It never felt like a thing that had emotion attached to it for me.
Right. Okay. Sorry. Okay. And there was this moment of emotion recently. So we have a part that says it's fine now. That was just a moment. And this sounds like this other one is saying something kind of similar, where it's saying, well, I didn't notice that, or I wasn't aware of it before. To me, that kind of also sounds like it could have a similar kind of protective framing of, I don't know. Sorry, I'm hypothesizing here.
Okay.
Just thinking about protectors.
Yeah. Minimizing. Minimizing is a way of doing that. It's, in my system, it's like, oh, this is not a big deal, like, kind of thing. It feels similar. Yeah.
Well, that part's welcome. They're all welcome. And that part could be right. So, like maybe there's nothing. And so I wonder if it would allow space for us to investigate and just learn more about that feeling. And you can go as much towards it as feels right. Would it be okay with that?
I feel like when you said that, the part did soften, but it wasn't, it's hard to put this it's like, it softened almost because it felt like, oh, they're on to me kind of thing, instead of instead of it being like, yeah, they're going to arrive at me being right. And that's great. It's like,
yeah, I mean, we're on to it. We're acknowledging it.
mm-hmm.
And if it has more that it wants to share about why that message is important or its concerns, it can do that.
I feel like some of what I'm picking up, as soon as it starts to kind of come to me, it feels like just stuff that I absorbed from things that my mom said. Like, some of it doesn't feel like a real part, if that makes any sense. It's just like, these people are basically, in a way, strangers to me now.
Mm-hmm.
Not really, but they are. I don't know what they do or what they, I know what they do for profession, but I'm going to try not to overtalk this, but.
Mm-hmm. So this is more of the part's concern about maybe these are just feelings that are like secondhand, like this is stuff you absorbed from what your mom said, and so it's thinking that it wouldn't be
the stuff that says like, we don't even know these people and
mm-hmm.
such as that. Like a lot of it feels, I don't know how to describe this to you, but when I'm experiencing it inside, it doesn't feel like it has enough substance to be like a part speaking. It feels just like echoes of stuff that, like she would say, or.
Yeah. So I'm curious if that's coming from kind of a prejudgment of what we'll experience when we learn more about that feeling, or if you've already, these protectors have given you space and you've already tried to make contact with it and are finding that directly.
Trying to make contact with what?
With this emotion that came up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I felt very in contact with it when it was happening, and at that and in those moments and in moments to follow for the next several days, I felt quite sure that there was a kid part that was in there who was upset and felt like something had been taken from her. Yeah. And now I feel, as I'm giving it a voice, I feel it again. But yeah, I'm not going to say a bunch more about what I was trying to say before, because it wasn't making all that much outward sense at that moment either. But
I think it made sense in the context of if it was kind of part of a concern of a protector saying this is just echoes, this is just secondhand, we don't know these people. But yeah,
and I guess what I was trying to give voice to was there was another, I don't know, there was another feeling that like, that some of that wasn't even coming from parts. It was just like floating around in there. I don't know if that makes any sense to you, but it does to me for right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So does it feel right for you now to try to turn towards that feeling, that possible kid that felt like something was taken, and learn more about that?
Yeah.
Okay. Start with how it feels in the body.
I feel it in my throat, like a tightness. You can feel my eyebrows kind of taking on a tension as well.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of a feeling of wanting to reach out with my arms.
How do you feel towards it?
Very compassionate, like
Right.
I'm already getting kind of a sense of some of the stuff that's there.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of interference from, naysaying and minimizing parts coming in and saying like, trying to correct stuff that's coming.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Do you want to just address that again? And if they need your attention, we can turn towards them more. You can ask them for space.
I actually do think there's one that I've listened back to some of, I'm always listening back to our sessions and
Me too.
But yeah, there's one that comes up so often that I feel like it's one of those kind of like, all right, get this one out of the way kind of things. And it's the like family image protector and corrector, like and it's again, a minimizing voice. It's like, it was not bad. Nothing was bad. Anytime that I want to say something that sounds like there was sadness involved in my childhood, it wants to rush in and like put that in a box.
Okay. How do you feel towards that one?
I don't feel the ways that we want me to feel.
Yeah. I agree. That one has come up in several of our conversations. So if it's up now, it might be worth getting to know. So any part that doesn't want to get to know it, you could check in with them.
Yeah, there's several parts with their arms crossed, just kind of feeling like that guy is wrong and is messing up, is getting in the way of like healing and stuff.
Yeah.
There's always that to clear more than once, usually. Every time that I go in.
Okay. Yeah. I think that's a great thing to notice. So you can just let them know that, hey, thanks for noticing. And maybe we can check in on that guy and see if we can learn more about what he's up to and why.
Yeah. What I'm getting, like the vibe of it, I'm sometimes surprised when I say guy and I'm like, oh, it's a guy. It's kind of like a police officer with a real big belly and a bunch of keys and stuff, and like just the kind of nothing to see here people kind of everybody move along. He's like kind of, he seems like sort of exasperated and stuff like that.
How do you feel towards him?
At this moment, I feel amused by the way that he's showing up. I don't feel confrontational, but I'm aware that behind me there are some who do.
Okay. Would they be willing to give you a minute to learn more about him?
Yeah, so far.
Okay. Feeling curious?
Yeah.
Okay. What's he want you to know?
He would just like it if we just never ever looked back at.
Mm-hmm.
He's just like, move it along.
Mm-hmm.
He's got like, like mirrored sunglasses, so you can't really see his eyes.
Yeah.
He seems, he just thinks it's kind of ridiculous to, if you didn't, endure like real trauma,
Uh-huh.
which is, categorized in his way by, like real abuse and horrific things and stuff, then, it's kind of like the character that I now call Pops was at first. Is just like, oh, quit your whining and there's nothing wrong and everything's fine.
Okay.
And there's no reason to whine about stuff that happened a long time ago, kind of stuff.
Yeah.
He's like, no crimes have occurred. I'm on the scene. I've investigated and, everything's just fine.
Yeah. And why is that so important for him?
Because he doesn't want a bunch of whining, and he just thinks it's like, I don't know what the words are. Embarrassing is the word I want to say, but it's not quite exactly right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like weak to be bothered by things that aren't horrible. I guess is the best I can do.
Yeah, does that make sense to you?
I want to say that it makes sense to me, but at this moment, I kind of feel a little pushy backy.
Okay.
About
just ask those pushy backies for space.
Okay. It seems to be a theme in several of our sessions where when real progress happens, I find myself at a table.
Great.
And he did pull up his sunglasses and he's like looking at me in the eye, and
yeah.
He just seems kind of wore out, like he's kind of older. He's like, basically his message seems to be like, could have been much worse. So, like just suck it up and don't listen to those whiny butt other parts. And you don't need to go, his feeling is that there's no need to like go trying to look for these hurt kids or any of that.
Yeah. I have a question that might not be useful. What he talks about looking for whiny parts. Is his concern mostly about, is it mostly about your internal work compared to like what you say out loud and whining out in the world? Does he distinguish between that and his?
Well, he definitely does not want, outward is even worse.
Okay.
Like external complaining or, sharing about hurt feelings of childhood outwardly he
Right.
likes even less, but the vibe he gives is just like, he just feels it's better to never look back there.
Mm-hmm. So he would agree that there are parts that sound like they're whining or they have complaints or that they're in pain or have some burden.
Yeah, but he maintains that like they don't have they don't, like, again, it's no crimes were committed, therefore this just, case closed. This is kind of sentiment is like, nothing awful happened to you, so don't be wasting your time or digging up. He feels like it's like,
I appreciate that. And I just want to say again, I think like he could be right. He could, when he says like nothing awful happened to you, this is the category of awful, and they didn't happen to you, therefore, like, he could be right that things awful didn't happen by his definition.
It's true. Like, there's a lot of people that in my life that I love who have had awful things happen to them, and I do not, fall in that category.
Right.
Yeah. So his theory is, well, I think even if awful things did happen, he would still value not looking.
Yeah. So, okay. That sounds important.
I just get this vibe off of him. He's just like, he won't say that he's tired, but he just looks worn out.
And so if the awful thing did or didn't happen, and you as self went back to a part that seemed to be in pain or whining, as he puts it, what would be bad about that?
He's not sure.
Okay. It's okay.
He doesn't seem upset about not being sure. He's just like, well, I don't know. Like, he seems a little more approachable now. Not sure why, but he's just kind of like holding his hands up like, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know.
Okay.
He just maintains his, that if we're up to him, you would just never rehash any past moment.
How are you feeling towards him?
Yeah, he seems to have kind of a hopelessness in a way about that. Yeah.
So he's feeling worn out. He seems hopeless. He also might just be confused about because he's not able to answer, all the whys. How you feel towards him?
I feel good towards him. I get why. I mean, he's just got his one idea, and he's not planning on changing that idea. And he's also, I get this feeling like this hint of him feeling inadequate because that's all he's got.
Yeah. And he's part of.
Yeah, he's not ready to have a new idea, but I think he gives off this vibe like he knows that it's not as foolproof as he's pretending it is, or as he's believing it is, or whatever.
Right. That approach hasn't been as effective as he wishes it was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What's he think about you? Does he see you in your current age and with your power to go to parts?
Hold on, I have to. As soon as you said, "What does he think about me?" I feel like I jumped out of myself, and now I'm seeing
Okay.
myself and
Or you
him.
could ask him. Ask him how old he thinks you are.
So what I'm seeing is like him, and now I'm not inside my eyes. I'm seeing what we'll call a self-like part.
Okay.
And I was like, as you were asking me that, I was already asking him, "What do you think of her?" And he's like, "She's," he's like, "She's not going to get the job done."
Yeah, she's not going to get the job done.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then he turns towards me. And with me, like, he has like kind of a little bit of a twinkle in his eye.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not going to say that I can do any job, but he seems to be aware that he doesn't know, like,
Okay.
what I might be capable of.
Mm-hmm. Does he want anything from you? Does he have any requests or anything else he'd like to be doing or anything that you could offer him?
He would like to do not very much.
Okay.
Like, as soon as you said that, I saw him kind of like sitting in a lawn chair, wearing like other clothes with his feet up and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, "Well, if we're not going with my plan, then I'd rather just chill."
How do you respond to that?
I think he should do that. And yeah, part of my response to that, and I think I kind of want to hear your feedback about it, is like, we're not going with your plan. Sometimes it is. I mean, sometimes it is a good mindset to say nothing terrible has happened here, and therefore, but that it's not always a good plan.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I'm telling him, like, well, sometimes we do go with your plan, and it is appropriate to do so.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, but maybe not this time. It's always there, I think, is what I'm trying to say to him, is like, that strategy is still here to fall back.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I got.
How about that self-like part? Did she run off, or was there more that you wanted to learn about that part? Or does he have more to say about her and how she wouldn't get the job done?
He's just kind of like, well, she looks the part, but, of someone that might get some stuff done, but doesn't have faith in her.
Has he seen in the past that self-like part trying to get the job done and not doing it adequately?
What I get from that is I've seen it all. Like, I've seen it all. He's a police officer.
He's watching.
He's seen it all. She seems like a little bit, tiny bit defensive. Like, I'm just, she's like, I'm just trying to help. I just want to be in the mix kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, she seems to like also be willing to throw up her hands and sit in a lawn chair as well. She's like,
okay.
She's like, I could take a beverage over here.
Yeah. So she's also aware of you.
Yeah.
Great. Anything else these parts need, or shall we try to shift back to kind of where we started?
No, they seem to be chilling now.
Okay.
They're just like waving. Okay, bye.
Okay. They can jump back in if they need to.
Okay.
So, do you want to check again for the feeling of the kid something had been taken from?
Yeah. I think there's like some big sadness around, like, I had friends, but our family didn't have friends. Like, I don't know how to say that, but we weren't close with our extended family after that.
Mm-hmm.
My parents didn't really have friends. So there weren't really like other adults in the mix, kind of. I don't know how to say it, but
okay.
When I had all that emotion about it, it was like one of the things I was feeling was, this loss of them as people, like my aunt, my cousins, my uncle, but also like this feeling like, even though I have a lot of aunts and uncles on paper biologically, like the kid feeling was like, I could have had an auntie, or I had an auntie, or I want my auntie.
Mm-hmm. How are you feeling towards that part?
I'm feeling, like compassionate.
Mm-hmm. And is she aware of you feeling that and seeing her? She is not acknowledging me. Okay.
But I get the feeling that she is aware of me, but kind of pretending not to be.
Okay. That's fine.
Like she's got her arms crossed and she's kind of in a huff.
It's okay. She can be in a huff. She can let you know anything she wants. She can show up any way she wants. She doesn't have to do anything or answer any questions.
Again, like what she is saying is like, I needed her.
Mm-hmm.
She needed like there to be more of a network than just this tiny. It's like there was so much laser focus.
So much laser focus without the extended family.
Yeah, like my family was like too small of a container, and I keep wanting to say like, because you have your nuclear family. I'm like, there's supposed to be electrons.
Yeah.
Like there's supposed to be outer circles and other places for the energy to go.
Right. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like everything that was extended was kind of just slowly cut off, and it just got very small and pressurized.
Right. Yeah. Just let her show you what that was like for her.
In a way, it was like, yeah, there was like at the same time too much focus at her, like too much, too much focus being directed at her, but also not enough.
Yeah. Laser like.
Yeah.
Some more she wants to show you about how that was for her.
Yeah, just like that, those gatherings that we used to have was like, it felt like my mom or my parents were like letting off steam and having fun in front of me. And I don't really have any like sense of that kind of thing.
Yeah.
After.
Yeah. So that was something she lost.
Yeah. And my cousins were like my friends. And then they just were gone. I mean, like we still saw our extended family, once a year or something. But there was no feeling of like belonging or comfort or safety in being around them anymore. And all of the like things that we went to began to feel like obligatory and chore like.
How's she feel about sharing all this with you? She's still got her arms crossed.
No, when you first said that, I saw that image again. But she's like real close to me now, almost like sitting in my lap. And she just really feels like she could have been happier with an auntie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and like aunties are cool because they're nice to you, but they're also cool because they know your parents in a way that other people don't. She's kind of like mad in general at all of the adults for
breaking up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like no one ever told her what happened, or no one ever explained.
Right. Right. Yeah. It was just that slow separation. And she didn't, it's like that police officer part said, it's like, well, there wasn't any big trauma that she can point to as some event.
Yeah, there was just something that was there, and then
right.
And nobody like
nobody processed it with her. Nobody shared how they were feeling about it.
I don't have any distinct memories of asking about them. But I'm sure if I did, it was like kind of the police officer kind of answer.
Right. Right. Yeah. We're not looking back at that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can let her know that you see how that works. You see how that works in you with your own parts.
Yeah, she's just like, she just felt happier when there were more than two adults in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just feel like you get it. You understand what it was like for her.
I think so.
Okay. What feels right to do next? Would you like to offer some of those other steps of unburdening, going back in her time, inviting her out, checking her body?
Yes. Yes, that would feel good. There's something interfering, saying something about, hold on. Okay, it went away. Whatever it was is like completely evaporated. So never mind.
Okay.
Okay.
So yeah, you can offer to go back into her time and be there for her in the way she needed someone. And you can ask her to show you where and when that was.
What I get is she wants me to talk to them and make them like each other again. she's like, make them hug.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. How do you respond to that?
I don't know. I feel like I don't want to naysay that as a notion.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know. And I've been doing some training where, they invite in the self of the relative or whatever. And not like, why not? I guess.
Yeah.
A part that's like, but you can't do that. It's only, whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think they wanted, they didn't, neither one of them wanted it to be that way.
Right. Yeah. I wonder if there's some other way that you can talk to those parents back then that would feel right for you and for her without forcing them to hug.
Well, no, she's like, you tell them, you basically mediate between them, like, she's like, they're being stupid. And and of course, I didn't know this when I was that kid. I didn't know that they had an issue in that, that I didn't know they had a tiff. Like, I don't have a memory of even like asking or wondering or being like, why? Yeah. But it's like I'm standing there and she's holding my hand and they're there. And she's like, tell them, like, make them stop.
I'm
not sure what to do with that right now, but
I'm also not sure. I mean, you could do something like offer to mediate. You could do something like suggest that they work it out, for example. I also have hesitation around the idea that you could, do all of that in, make them be something that they weren't. It's kind of,
yeah.
But
the thing is, they were also being something that they weren't by doing what they did in a way. Like they were.
Yes.
Yeah.
They had their parts that were coming up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe we could return to the question of like, what did this little girl need from someone at that time?
She needed for those connections not to end.
Okay. So she needed to see other adults in her life and see her parents having fun again.
Yeah.
And have that safety net of that more of a network.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Does that feel more doable? Kind of providing a bit of a network for her, if that makes sense.
Meaning, like, are you saying that I'm going to be your auntie now?
Kind of. That you're going to be at least one more adult because there were too few.
Yeah.
You're also someone who knows her parents very well.
Yeah. it's like, yeah, she's like, but I want my cousins and I want, like, I don't know. This may be one that I have to figure out because, like, she wants more than one person, like more than another entity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see the dilemma.
Yeah.
When I have parts that say I wish I had friends, and it's like, okay, well, I can kind of snap my finger and make quote friends appear, but if there's a specific person, and it's like, well, that person's gone or not, we're not going to be friends with that person, then I'm not really sure.
I think I have some vague notions of stuff that I'll try later. But one thing that came up, well, I don't know if I was talking or if you were talking, was like that same, self-like part that was sitting over there with the cop guy and the lawn chairs. It was like, well, I'm here. Like,
that's right.
I'm here.
That's right.
I'm trying to help. I care.
Here's the network.
So,
I'm full of them.
Another one of those ones that's like kind of trippy a little bit. Not sure what to do with it.
Yeah. Okay. It sounds like you're okay with that, though. That you're okay with not knowing what to do with it, and
yeah.
You're gonna find out. You're gonna find out and let me know.
Yeah, it just sparks my interest again. Like,
yeah.
I'm not close to the notion that I could invite in the self of my auntie or whatever. And I'm also not close to the notion that other parts can be part of this part family. That's a whole lot of repetitive words. But
I understood.
like this cop dude could be, crazy Uncle Joey or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, you need the fat guy over there just lounging and watching.
Yeah, if this kid has been closed away from the rest of the system for all this time, why couldn't that be comforting if some of them were like, hey, be around or whatever. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
And if those other protective parts are hypothetically getting along with each other better, that's an internal family that's getting along.
Internal families systems it's called, even though most of us think that's a terrible name.
I love the name.
I didn't
I'm
mean
all for it.
I didn't mean to include you in that. I just think it's kind of a turn off sometimes.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
People maybe. Sorry.
It's all right.
Okay.
How's she doing with you just offering to go back, even if we haven't figured out all the things to solve back then?
She seems really okay at this moment. Like she's on my. She's like, I'm hanging out with her. I'm holding her on my hip, even though she's big for that.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
And does she want to set up a place in your current world to come hang out with you more?
A place in my current world.
Sorry.
Like
does she want to join? Does she want to join you in your time, or does she want to go somewhere else to meet with you in the future?
Where I've been with them, like, it's not a perfect replica, but it's very similar to my aunt and uncle's yard. And when you were saying those options, she was like, yeah, I want to do that. Yeah, I want to do that. Like, she wants to be able to go here where we are. She also wants to be able to go other places.
Great. And can she show you those other places, and that can, you can make that happen for her, make those available for her.
Yeah, she's like, I want to go where you go, but I also want to be able to come back here, run around in their yard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she doesn't want to just go to the present, and she doesn't want to just stay in the past.
Great. Okay. You all right with that?
Yeah. I think I can connect with her by kind of bringing myself to the place in the past, and then,
right.
We can, because it's not a bad, I think before she was deleted from this place, like their house.
Right.
And she was also completely alone because I was not aware of her.
Right.
And now she can be there.
And not be alone.
And not be alone because the cop guy and the self-like part are still there too, and me. So.
Right. Okay. And how about asking where in her body she's carrying the burdens?
Heart and throat.
Mm-hmm. And how she'd like to give them up.
She wants to yell.
Okay.
Pretty common.
Great.
She also kind of wants to just like writhe around on the ground and throw kind of a weird sort of tantrum about it.
Mm-hmm. All right.
And throw some stuffed animals.
Mm-hmm.
She wants to yell at my mom some.
Okay. That could be something you facilitate or help her out with if she'd like.
It seems like the yelling and the tantrum and the yelling at my mom is becoming silly. Like at first it was like really strong and angry and desperate almost. And now it's like she's starting to kind of joke around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just tell her to keep going. Till she's got it all out.
Every so often she just yells out adults are stupid or something like that. She's like, that's stupid.
Mm-hmm.
She's come to me and she's like, I feel better now, but I still might need to yell about how stupid adults are later too.
Okay. Sound good to you?
Yeah. She reserves the right to yell that anytime.
Awesome. Me too.
Me too.
Okay. Yeah. And it's interesting that each of these stages, it sounds like she's doing to a degree, which I think is totally fine, and it also kind of makes sense. If there's more to kind of figure out back in her time, that you've got more you can do for her.
Sometimes the redo option feels really hard to figure out because it's like, how could this be fixed? Like.
Yeah. I'm pretty careful to always go with the language of like, what did the part need from someone back then? And it's because I'm also really hesitant about like, here it's fixed now.
Oh yeah.
That didn't happen, kind of thing. And I've never done what you were saying before about like, or I don't know that I've ever used the bringing in the self of
another.
Yeah. I've also seen and studied some of that, and I've never gone there myself. So
yeah, I haven't either yet, but I like the idea of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't see why not, but it's something I'll just kind of try to navigate.
Yeah, I'll do some more thinking on it too. Hopefully we can compare notes afterwards.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, I really feel like I made a connection.
Sounds like it.
Like I said, I didn't know this was there. So feels like a big piece of progress.
Congratulations. And thank you to the policeman. And, in a way, I don't know, in a way it kind of felt like he got us here.
Yeah.
Even though it seemed like at first, here's a protector in the way and these other parts are saying that. And
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I like him. He's fun.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I appreciate it very much. This was helpful.
Thank you. Okay. Well, I will talk to you soon.
Okay.
And keep me posted.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Have a good night.
You too.
Bye.
Do you want to help bring more self-energy to the world? If you'd like to participate in calls or help out with this project in any way, I'd love to hear your ideas. Join the Discord server or contact me at james@liveifs.com. A huge thanks to our audio engineer, Yvonne, for your care and diligence in editing the calls. To every caller for your courage in sharing some of your parts. And to anyone out there getting to know their internal system, keep going. Who knows? That might be the most selfless, helpful thing you can do for others, and you're the only one who can do it. If you'd like to see us reach the largest audience, we must please the almighty suggestion algorithms at iTunes and YouTube. And they don't care about the power of IFS. They're looking for likes and shares and comments, and the sooner the better. Follow the links in the show notes right here in your podcast player to make your wishes known. And now, a minute of meditation. Or if you prefer, pull over. You can do it in 60 seconds. Just click one of those links. They're right there, and give us a like or a 5-star rating. It would really help. If you think this project is helping people, you're helping people by sharing it. Thank you.